Welcome back to the Yoga Chat. I'm your host, Montana.
I'm your host, May. I don't know why I
And
said it like that.
today we have a wild Aquarius sunshine fish person. I don't know. I said fish because Aquarius is a water
Mermaid?
sign. Yeah, mermaid. That sounds better. A big
Then
salmon. We've
fish
got a salmon
person.
girl with us. Oh, that reminds me of the movie, The Salmon. You're a salmon girl, right? That was a really scary movie. Anyways, I digress. This has nothing to do with salmon. The one and only Hannah Bagel, otherwise known as Hanna Schlegel. Hannah has been practicing yoga since 2011, which would have made her 15 years old at that time. She would have been 15 years old at that time. She is a Pittsburgh born and raised gal, Yinzer, if I might say so myself. I love Yinzers for what it's worth. I married one. Uh, a fun fact about Hannah is actually the same fun fact that we had with a previous guest, Valerie, the master trainer from Yoga 6, senior master trainer, and it is that she can recite the alphabet backwards quickly without cheating. So that's pretty cool. Hannah, welcome. How are you?
Hi. Hi, friends. Thanks for having me. It's so funny, like preparing for this. I'm just going to talk to my friends, but it's going to be recorded for like the public. So, hello,
Mhm.
public.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But it's like a
especially when
cool,
we
good
like know
weird.
the person. Yeah, for sure. That's why we do it. But especially when we know the person and they're like, I'm nervous. I'm like, just pretend like we're talking. We're just gonna have a chat like we always do. Like Vicky was like the most recent person that was like, I'm nervous. And I was like, we're gonna just talk like we always do. And she's like, except we're not in the privacy of our own conversation. So yeah, I'm nervous. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. Um, but that actually helps me remember because me being the Sag, I don't really care if it's private or public. So Hannah, what are your big three?
Yes, you
My
did
big
it.
three. Yes, my sun is Aquarius, Virgo rising, and Scorpio moon.
Mm,
Mm,
I love it. I love that you've got some Scorpio in there too, because May and I are both Scorpio rising.
we
Yeah.
are indeed. So
Yes.
We
wait,
were
Virgo is
talking.
Earth, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Scorpio and Aquarius are water.
Yes.
That tracks.
It really
Well,
does. I think so too.
Aquarius is actually
Is
air, even though
air,
it's like
is
that
Oh,
air is
that's
air.
like
right.
pouring
Okay,
water.
you're right.
It's air.
That actually makes
So
more
So you're
sense
very
because,
well-rounded.
yeah,
I think
I feel
so.
like,
Yeah. And my Venus is in Aries, so there's my like fire.
yeah. Oh, cool. I love
Wait,
that.
what is Venus? What does Venus like cover or
Like the way
guard?
that I understand Venus is it's like your way of like love and attraction, like either like the way that you give or receive love, like love and
Hmm.
attraction. I think. I don't know. We got to call up our astro friend Aaron on this.
Yeah, Aaron, tell
Yeah.
us. My Venus is in Scorpio. I actually have so much Scorpio in my chart, and most of it is in my first house. Again, I don't know what that means. Aaron told me before, and I forgot because it's so complex. But yeah, so I love it. Very well balanced. All right. On that note, I feel called to draw some cards today. So I'm almost done
Let's do it.
shuffling.
It's like we're in
All
Tulum
right.
all over again.
Exactly. So while I shuffle, you guys can get excited that this is not only going to be our Hannah Bagel episode, but also our Tulum recap episode because the three of us were there together. So let's see.
Do you
Oh,
think we could mentally send you a mess or you already pulled one?
yeah. And they're like, of course, because they were pulled, all of these were pulled so many times in Tulum. So the first one is home,
I got
which we
that a
pulled
lot.
so many times in Tulum. Yeah. The second one is transmute, which we pulled so many times in Tulum. And then the last one we didn't pull like as often, but I definitely pulled it for myself more than once, and that's karmic path.
Ooh.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read these really quick for y'all, for us and for our listeners. This is the deck that we always use for what it's worth. So home. You're being guided to come back home to who you truly are. Drawing this card can signal a change in your physical home or a sense of where you belong. Pulling this card also symbolizes that wherever or whatever your current situation, you can trust that this moment is in alignment with your higher self. You have not lost your way. You're, in fact, right on time and on track. Meditate on this symbol to access your higher power when having to make important decisions. You can always orient yourself north to the morning star and be assured that you will make the decision that is in alignment with your highest good.
Home.
The next one, transmute. To transmute is to convert one energy into another. The snake is a powerful symbol of transmutation. You are being invited to accept its gift of shedding to help you process something important. Use this ability to make magic by transmuting the snake's energy into something new and beneficial for your growth. Meditate on this symbol when you need some assistance in changing the energy in your life. Love it. And last but not least, karmic path. Karmic lessons, learning experiences, hard work, perseverance, and structure. A new and valuable lesson is available to you at this time. This moment requires your due diligence, so pay attention to what is being presented to you. Have you been down this road before? Our souls come to this earth school to learn valuable lessons as beings and for the planet. What are you being taught right now? This moment may require hard work, but it will have many long-lasting rewards. You are not being punished, but are gaining tools and experience for living that will be with you for the rest of your life. Drawing this card also tells you that the foundation of what you are building is strong and is part of your legacy. And I can't fucking make this shit up. And when this airs, which is going to be December 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, that's the Friday, whatever that next Friday is. Who knows what will be out in the field by then, but those cards are crazy. That's all I'm saying. I don't know the future. It's like the Channy app. Okay, those are amazing. So I'm going to leave these right here for us. Cool. Well, on that note, Hannah, I'm going to give the mic back to you. Will you just share? Yeah, just like that. Will you share with us and with our listeners who you are and where you come from and what your journey has been like up to this point and what originally led you to your yoga mat?
Yeah. Cool. I always laugh at that question internally, like, who am I? Where am I? Where did I come from?
Rhett.
In this, yeah, exactly. That's my dad's name, Rhett. In this human form, as Montana says, born and raised in Pittsburgh. I like lived all around like the greater Pittsburgh area, but my dad's always been in the heart of Pittsburgh. So I was always there like on the weekends. So Pittsburgh is obviously my home. Growing up, I dabbled with all the things just because I moved around so much. I was always like the new kid. So I did a little bit of cheer and dance and gymnastics, and I really never felt like super athletic or anything. I was always very creative. I remember in kindergarten, they were like, dress up career day. What do you want to be when you grow up? And my mom helped me create like this artist outfit and like a little like an easel and like a paint palette. So I guess I just always wanted to be an artist. I always knew that I had like creative energy inside of me. And so in the fourth grade, actually, it was like in daycare in like the second or third grade, I saw a girl playing the flute. I was like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. And so when the fourth grade, when that was like the time that they're like, oh my gosh, like you guys should like be in the band or whatever. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be in the band. So I picked up the flute and I did that all the way until like eighth grade. There was some like overlap with like cheerleading, and then I moved. It was just like a whole thing. So always very creative. I like to move my body, but couldn't like figure out exactly how to do that. And then high school was honestly really tough for me. I feel like I had a dark night of the soul, like early, like 17 years old. If you were to ask 17-year-old Hannah, like, do you love yourself? Do you have a self-care practice? I'd be like, what the hell does any of that mean? I lived so neck up. I was just like so in my head all the time. And so before that, when I moved halfway through high school, and so like my best friend growing up, Madison, I always loved going to her house because like she didn't have cable, like she had internet, but we weren't like really allowed to use it. So we were just like playing around like in her mom's garden. Like it was very crunchy. It was really fun and like different from my home life. And her mom was a yoga teacher. And so my sophomore year of high school, I knew that I'd be moving at the end of that. And so it was like kind of like it was more bitter than sweet completely. And so we just started hanging out more and more. I'd go home on the school bus with her and we'd go into her basement and plug in her mom's DVDs, like all of her old school yoga DVDs. I think the first one I did was like a Gaiam. Is that how you say it? Like the Gaiam
I think so.
mat? Yeah.
Like the stuff you buy at Target.
Yes, literally. And so we're like doing that in her basement. And then when I moved, she gifted me a DVD, Catherine Budig. I don't know if you've ever followed her or heard of her, but she's pretty big in the yoga world. And so she had this one video, and looking back, it's so simple but profound. It was the sun A. It was the sun A of a vinyasa flow. And I was doing that over and over again, like in my bedroom when I moved. Like that's literally all I had. Like I had no friends. I like lived in like the freaking sticks of Washington, PA. I'm like, what do I do? I'll just do yoga. And I didn't really realize at the time how profound that was for me until I was able to go off to college and start to like build my own life, I guess you could say. When you're a child, you're very like stuck in whatever's happening at home. And I felt very out of control. I felt very just not me. And so when I went off to college, I studied at Cal U. I went there for business management and marketing. And I also minored in psychology. And my mom makes fun of me. She's like, "You're so smart that you're stupid, Hannah. You didn't realize that you're going to graduate with 2 degrees." I didn't know I was going to graduate with 2 degrees until I graduated. And I got like a bachelor's in business management and an associate's in technical science. But what I also got in college was I learned what it was like to be in my body. At that point, when I would come home from breaks from school, I moved in with my dad. He lives in Brookline with my grandma. And up until that point, I mean, I was practicing at home with DVDs and YouTube. Yoga with Adrienne was like my girl. So I had a very homegrown yoga practice. And then going off to college, I started to take care of my health more. I started actually eating. I started eating well. I started taking care of my body, going to the gym. And so I think it was like my freshman year, maybe like Thanksgiving break, actually. I went to a pay what you can class at South Hills Power Yoga, and it was hot power vinyasa yoga. And I was like, holy shit, what did I just do? Like, that was the hardest thing ever. And I remember my first studio class, I'm like, I need more of that. I want more of that. I also, and I feel like people don't talk enough about this in yoga, my wrists were killing me. I'm like, how does anyone stay on the wrist for so long? And even to this day, I'll modify a vinyasa. I will modify a chaturanga. I will even skip one. Like, by all means, if you need to do it, do it. And so, yeah, I guess that was just like my catalyst. I would go to school, just build my resume. I was very much like a growth seeker, started to become more into my body. And I just loved yoga so much and my health and wellness journey that I wanted to like start teaching it, but I wasn't certified. And so my last semester of college, my senior year, I started a program called the Healthy Habits Program at school. And I was literally just making up yoga classes, just pretending like I was a yoga teacher, and it was fun. I had like 3 students. And so I graduated in 2018. I went into the corporate world. I did all that. I was really good at it, hated it. I was like washing cars, renting cars with Enterprise, which thank you, Enterprise, grateful for everything I learned, but I quit that job for another journey. So I had like barely any money to my name, but then the yoga teacher training through South Hills Power Yoga came in front of me, and it was like all the money, literally all the money I had in my bank account. And I didn't even want to teach. I was just like, I want to learn more. I say I don't want to teach, but I was already teaching. I just wanted to learn more. And so I dove in. I like signed the biggest check of my life. And it was like a 6-month program. It was February 2019 until like June, I think. And at that time, that was pre-COVID. That was the year right before you did your training at South Hills Power Yoga, May. So you and I missed each other by one cohort. And that was really incredible. I made some like really good friends, great connections, learned a lot about myself. Stacy, the owner of that studio, I mean, she's fantastic. I learned so much from her. And at that time, there was also South Hills Power Yoga in Peters, which was ran by Darcy. Love Darcy. She got me into acro yoga, which was so scary and fun. And then they also had Bloomfield Yoga in Bloomfield. Bloomfield. Can't talk, I'm so excited. And that was co-owned by Jen and Stacy. And so it was really special to be circulating across those three studios and just really like find my like yoga home. Um, and then once I graduated, I started teaching at CCAC through yoga. And at this point, I was going through like my own career shifts. I ended up leaving enterprise rent a car. I ended up in construction. I was in project management construction, like I'm wearing like space buns and I'm like in meetings getting promoted. They're creating jobs for me that didn't even exist. And, you know, one end you have these office ladies that were just like really shitty towards me for whatever their own personal reasons. Then you have these like guys that won't take me seriously. And I'm just like, I just want to like do my job. And then the pandemic hit. And then, yeah, that spring of 2020, and I was laid off for 6 weeks. I legit gained 20 pounds in 6 weeks. You know, it's bad when your underwear doesn't fit you anymore. I was like, oh my God, like it was bad. It really took a toll on my mental and physical health. And I was able to like get back to my practice, get back to like what felt good for me. I was not teaching anymore. Everything went online. And then, yeah, so I learned how to teach online and then that all just kind of disappeared. So got back to that. I hired a personal trainer and just started doing the thing. And I didn't know what was going to happen next. And then that's when Montana came into my field around Yoga 6 that was opening up that following year in 2021. And so it was like fall of 2020. You and I have already had like mutual friends through like music. And you met my dad, and there's like this kind of crazy way that the universe brought us together. And you're like, yo, I'm gonna be a lead teacher at the studio that's hiring. You should apply. So I applied to Yoga 6, got the job, did our bridge training in February 2021. That's where I met May and the rest of the Y6 team. And I've been with Yoga 6 South Hills since. It's now November 2024. I think it was like 6 months into teaching at Yoga 6, the general manager position opened up. And I was like,
that was only 6 months.
Yeah,
That's
I
insane.
think it was like that. Yeah, I think so. Because it was from March to November. Yeah, November
That's
of
wild.
2021.
What is time?
Yeah. And I remember we had like the meeting. They're like, hey, this opportunity's here. And I'm like, this is my dream job. Like being a manager of a yoga studio, this is my dream job. And so I did that for 2 years. And that was so, can I say the F word? That was so fucking awesome. I think I've already said the F word.
You're asking us if you can say the F word. Come on.
Right?
Come
My
on.
mom's listening like, oh my God.
Sorry, Barb. Yeah, and what a journey that was. I mean, like helping take the community in the studio up to where it is now, seeing it grow, working alongside with you, Montana, was so awesome and still is awesome. And I learned so much from Christine Jared. So this is so long and drawn out, but I guess to bring it to present day, a year ago this month, actually, so November 2023, after 2 years of being the GM, I was like, I love this job so much, but it's time that I like do my own thing. And that's around the time when I realized, well, I can't be running someone else's business when I'm trying to build my own. And so it was so bittersweet, but I stepped down for the GM role. I still teach at Yoga 6, but my partner Matt and I, we started MindFuel Method in the fall of 2023. And so now that's what we're doing now. I mean, we've been running our business for a year now, providing mobile pop-up sauna, cold plunge, breathwork experiences. We're just super jazzed about like the social wellness aspect of it all, the many benefits of these practices. And Matt and I actually met through yoga. We met through Yoga 6. And he was on the yoga chat almost like a year ago too. So it's just kind of crazy, like how worlds collide. And yeah, I'm just stoked to be where I'm at. And yoga's been a big part of it.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I just want to share because this is Hannah hears me. Hannah and I talk about this all the time because it's part of our stories. But for those of you that don't know, so Hannah kind of touched on it rather. So yeah, Hannah and I had mutual friends through the music scene, the EDM scene. I'll be specific. Oh yeah. And so we were following each other on Instagram, and I did, I think it was, I think after I can't remember the timing of it, but I saw even from just online, I was like, this girl's so cool. I love her energy. She, like, Hannah, you were posting about at one point through the pandemic, like your journey back to health, and I thought that that was just like, so there's like there's a fine line between, and this is obviously my opinion, someone like sharing their health journey in a very raw and authentic and vulnerable way versus someone sharing a health journey that feels kind of like fabricated for social media, and to each their own. But yours felt very much so like the first one. And I also dealt with severe health and mental issues, I'm sure, as most people did during COVID. So like to see that through a screen and really like feel your authenticity, I was like, this girl's the shit. And then I was hosting virtual classes, which I did not like doing, but I was doing it because I didn't know what else to do. And Hannah joined, her boyfriend at the time, came to my like dance party, Power Flow, and like they had their room all set up and vibey, and I had my space all set up and vibey, and it was really cool. And then eventually I was at Roland's with two of my friends that I also would love to have on the podcast, Christy Sorota Jordan and her husband, Chris Jordan. And Rhett was like, oh, you're a yoga teacher. My daughter's a yoga teacher. Her name's Hannah. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome, whatever. And then lo and behold, Hannah, who I had been friends with via social media during the pandemic, reaches out to me and she's like, this is going to sound so weird, but I think you met my dad. And I was like, dude, you're that Hannah. That's crazy. So, I was just talking about this last night at a MindFuel event. That, like, I'm like, the universe kind of like shoved us together, which makes it even cooler. And then, like you said, Yoga 6 has allowed us to like continue that relationship. But, you know, we're definitely friends outside of that and beyond that, which is, I'm very grateful for. And there was one other thing I was going to say that I can't remember, but um, yeah, that's that. So um, I guess a question that I have for you is like, so I also, and I'll actually share this because I haven't publicly shared it. So whoever's listening, Hannah, when you were talking about the bittersweet decision you made to step away from the GM role in order to focus on your own things, I just resigned from my master trainer role with Yoga 6 corporate, which also is bittersweet, but I feel like a lot more sweet than bitter. And so I know what that experience is like for me, but can you talk a little bit more about like the trials and tribulations, the like bittersweetness of swirling that around in your mouth for probably a very long time to then finally coming to the moment of like, okay, this is what needs to happen in order for me to expand and grow and do what's next.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a really good question. I mean, it really comes down to that intuitive pull. It's hard to ignore it. And like you said, I can't help but be authentic. I pride myself on being nothing but real and down to earth. And I can't, I I try to keep secrets. I can't keep secrets. And so like when like I said, I'm such a creative, like I have so much creative energy inside of me. When Matt and I like conceptualized this idea of mind fuel, I just saw how much it was ready to just like take off and be birthed into the world. And I recognized the responsibility that I had at Yoga 6. And I would not have been able to do both with my whole heart into it because that's how I do things, my whole
Mhm.
heart. And it was really hard. I mean, there was like an ego aspect of like, well, I've worked this hard, I've got to this certain point, like I want it to be mine, mine, mine. But you have to like let it go because it's not, nothing is ever yours. It's always like the universe's. And in that surrender, because that's exactly what it is, and having that difficult but needed conversation, like, hey, I am stepping away from this position. It's time to like filter in. It was so incredible to see like me. It was like perfect time for me and for that role and just the studio in itself, because then beautiful, incredible Julie was able to step right into that GM role effortlessly. And in this last year, just seeing like the I don't want to say chess pieces because it's not a game, but it's just seeing like how things unravel and just like that butterfly effect. It's just trusting and surrendering in those intuitive pulls, doing what is honest and right within your heart, what's best for you, what's best for others. Like you can't go wrong from there. And I thought to myself, worst case scenario, like I start again, whatever that looks like every, like what's meant for you isn't going to miss you. So every redirection is just a redirection. So I guess, yeah, to simply answer that question is just lead from your heart and recognize that when you choose based off of your intuition, that it's in the best interest for yourself and others. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
There's
the
the juice.
juice. Cracking it.
Is that what you do?
Cracking that juicy.
The pepper, the dick, the juice. It's been so many things. Bradshaw wish he's like, this looks like something else, ladies.
Yeah. No, that was a really beautiful answer. That being said, can you talk a little bit more about like you touched on it, but what MindFuel Method is, and what you and Matt, like what your mission is behind the business and the community that you're building?
Yeah. Well, it is very personal in the sense that Matt and I, so we met through yoga. We met through Yoga 6. Like we've already had a relationship with breath and the heat. And we're also just growth seekers. Matt has really inspired me along the entrepreneur path. Like I always knew that I was meant to work for myself. I just wasn't sure how, what, or when. That was never modeled for me in my life. To no one's fault. I just didn't have really didn't have that experience. And he comes from, his mom's an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur for like upwards of probably 15 years now. And so it was inevitable that we were going to create something together. And I'm sure that this will be like the first of many things that we create. But he was on his health journey, stepping away from alcohol. He's been sober for like 2 years now. And along that journey, he started introducing cold exposure. And we live in a 1-bedroom apartment on the 7th floor. So there's no like cold plunge access. It's not really easy to like get a cold plunge. So he would do cold showers. And I would hear him like pitter patter in there, like hear his feet in the shower and like breathing like, and I'm like, you're fucking nuts. I would never do that. I hate the cold. I don't want to do that. Blah, 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 blah. But then there's just something like watching him do that when you can't help when you see people around you like bettering themselves and finding those edges of like their discomfort and growing from it. You're like, okay, I kind of want some of that. So I was like, okay, fuck it, let's do it. And so we did our first plunge together ever here in Pittsburgh, actually. And that just like ignited it for us. And so we were like, we want more, we want more. And what we're looking for like doesn't exist in Pittsburgh. So we went to Canada, he went to Finland. We traveled all along the East Coast of the United States, just like eating up any contrast therapy that's out there, which is the sauna and cold plunge experience. And then even in Tulum, like I went to Mexico and got to experience that. We had the Tesmacol, I said it right, and the guided cold plunge experience paired with the breath work. And what we found is just, we're just so inspired by how cultures all over the world have their own form of heat, cold, and breath practice. And bundling all together what we've experienced, the evidence we have in our practice, and also just as space holders and leaders, it's just natural for us to want to create something for people to experience that themselves. And so we had like our first public event like last December. I think it was F45 in the Strip District. Shout out to Kat. She's freaking awesome. She just had her first baby. She's so badass. And yeah, it's been so fun ever since. Like we've been popping up all over Pittsburgh. Just we wanted to put in the reps. We just wanted to hold space for this experience, for this medicine. Me with my yoga teacher background, Matt with his hockey coaching background, it just works really well. And then with that, like our overall vision is just to continue holding and creating space for social wellness experiences that help people strengthen their own vitality, find that edge of their growth, and then also do that in a community setting. So it's been really, really impactful. And I'm so incredibly inspired and proud of how much we've been able to create, like literally just the two of us in 1 year. Um, and I mean, the sky's the limit, baby. We got some really, really exciting things ahead for us. And so the ultimate vision is just to keep doing this and expand. And I'll sum it up by just like anchoring in the fact that this is beyond just Hannah and Matt. Like, this is the people's, like, MindFuel is the people's.
I love the what you said. Well, I love everything you just said, but the main things that stand out to me, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, is just Matt being in the shower and tip tapping his feet and taking cold showers. And at first you were like, what the fuck? And then after a while, it's kind of like you never realize how much of an impact you might have on somebody or so many other people just by doing something healthy for yourself. So, like, if you are just doing your thing, and I always think about this in yoga and I say it a lot in class, it's like people do these routines day in and day out. And after they become routines, like people forget what a big deal they are. So, like, you know, and then you inspire other people. So like Matt never thought in a million years him going and taking a cold shower and doing his like weird routine in there was going to like inspire someone who was terrified of the cold to like suddenly be interested, and then in an infectious, in a positive infectious way, like you were in board and now you're two people that are sharing this passion for it, and then it's going to just kind of spill out into dozens and dozens of other people. And like you said, like the community of everyone wanting to like catch a little glimpse of that betterment and that growth and that feeling. And it's just always a good reminder that like the people and the spaces and the communities you surround yourself with are like going to change you. So you can choose to be in communities and spaces that make you sluggish and anxious and like spill out into bad habits. Like, you go on vacation with your drinker friends and you're fucking just knocking it back. Or you go on vacation with your ice bath yoga friends and you're like just doing all these beautiful, healthy things together.
Louder.
And just such a good reminder that like one person can cause one other person to do something good for themselves. And then two people can cause like 80 other people to do something good for themselves. And just it keeps on spilling out. So like it's just such a awesome reminder that no matter how small you think your routines are or the good things you do for yourself, like there's at least one person that's going to see what you do and it's going to inspire them to try to do something similar. And then when you also just go out of your way to create communities of dozens of people that want the same thing, it's just going to like all those people are going to go home and then their wives and their kids are going to be like, "Oh, that's weird. My dad takes ice baths," but then they're going to be like, "I want to try it." And then it's just going to be like all these generations of kids and people that are like doing all this wacky shit they never thought they would do because one person tried it first. And I always love thinking about it that way, the way one person can impact one person and how so many people can impact like hundreds and thousands of people. It's awesome.
Yeah, you never know who's watching. You really don't.
Exactly.
And you're so right. Like, how's the quotes go? It's like you become the sum of like the five people you spend the most time with. And that is so real. That is so real. And so
Hmm.
it just goes to show like the importance of who you surround yourself with. What conversations are you in? What daily habits are the people around you doing? Um,
Hmm.
and maybe you do go on a yoga retreat and there is like a little bit of drinking and a lot of yoga and like you're just doing it
Sure. It could
like
be all of
Tulum.
it. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's
Exactly.
like that's the thing is there's a
Balance.
balance of it. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be one or the other, but in general, when you are around people that are doing good things for themselves, it's going to make you want to do good things for yourself. So like I can't stress enough like if you are in a funk or if you are like going through the motions and week after week and month after month you find yourself like in these feelings where you're like my life just feels blah and I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going and I need to feel good or different, like take a quick look around at the people that you're spending your days with because I feel like that's a really big part of it. And there's just takes one person to inspire you to do something out of your comfort zone or to do something that scares you a little bit but also makes you excited, and then it just you never know what could happen. Just that could be that one little switch of like just even the people you spend your time with or the way you spend your time, like there's just tiny little adjustments you can make that can cause such big effects in the larger sense. And And it's really
We were
on
just
one.
talking.
Sorry, everyone. We have some technical difficulty. Anyways, Mercury is officially in oh my God, I can't talk.
Dude,
Is officially in retrograde. So we're gonna chalk it up to
Mercury
that.
needs an ice dunk
And
and some
even
breath
though
work
I
with
thought
Hannah.
Aquarius was water, I'm still gonna use that as an excuse. So okay, anyways, what were you talking about?
Well, we were just saying how the groups that you spend your time with, the people that you spend your time with, have a very, very, very big impact on
Mhm.
your life. And just in general, like Hannah said, you never know who's watching. You never know who you might be inspiring. There could be a stranger. You could go to a yoga class every fucking day, and there could be one person in that class that you don't even know, that they barely know you, but they watch you and you inspire them. And for whatever reason, you make them feel inspired to come back and keep going. Like, you really, that's the thing, is like, I have had people where I watch and I'm like, holy shit, they're amazing. They're awesome. And I feel like I wish I would have taken the time in my life and in my past to like approach those people and tell them that, because like we all need to hear it. And I never did, but I mean, I'm making more of an effort to now, but you just never know. You never know who's watching you. You never know who you're inspiring. You never know like what you're going to, you know, what your behavior is going to cause other people to do. And it's just a good reminder.
Did Matt just walk in or did a cat do
He
something
did.
funny?
Can you tell?
I just saw you look over. I was like,
He
see if you were
walked in
gonna
like,
respond, and then you looked all smitten, and I was like, ooh, Matt must have gotten home, or a cat did something funny. But no,
Matt
I
or a
have so
cat.
many thoughts on all of that. Like, one, that's something that I've been actively working on for years, is like, especially with women, as simple as like when I like someone's shirt, so often I'll think it and not say it out loud. And then someone else will be like, "Oh, I like your shirt." And then I'm like, "Shit, I was thinking the same thing and I like literally forgot to say it." So it's something that I've actively been working on. Like when you want to compliment someone, whether it's their shirt or their healthy decisions that are inspiring you, like say it, right? Like
Mhm.
freaking say it. And
We all need to
two,
hear it.
yeah, like no one's ever going to be upset to receive a genuine compliment, right?
Right.
Um, and two, what you were sharing about like how Matt's pitter patter in the cold water essentially like sparked this like future empire is what I see mindful being. Um, it makes me think of a conversation that I had with Lee Horn, who was our photographer in Tulum last week. And she was talking about how, so she does this thing called the Joy Set, which is a facilitated, guided silent disco. And I've been to plenty of silent discos before. This was not your average silent disco. This was transformative and healing and out of this world insane. I was hysterical. We all were at our different points unwell in the best way. And so at dinner that night, I was just sharing with her like how like monumental that was for me, which I don't need to get into now because we're going to be here forever. But the point of it is that she was like, you know what's crazy is that like I started doing this because like it makes me happy. It's not something, and this is what I'll quote her saying. She's like, it's not something that I have to try to do. She was like, isn't that funny that the things that are meant for you show up or present themselves when you're not trying? And I'm like, dude, yes, 1,000%. So, like, Matt wasn't trying to inspire you. He was literally doing what felt right to him, what motivated him, what made him feel good. And by not trying and just doing whatever the fuck it was that made him feel good, like it sparked this huge thing for you guys. And it's like created this like it was like a springboard, a catapult for a whole business, which is
Surprise,
crazy.
it was authenticity. It was authentic and true and
Yeah, it
real
makes me want to
because he felt it.
cry.
And like,
So
and
it's
that's
like
the
what a
difference.
reminder,
That's
a
the
beautiful
difference.
reminder to like exactly what May was just saying, to like do what you do because you want to. And because it feels good and because it's good for you and it helps others and whatever the reason is. And like there's so many people on this earth, and especially with our phones now, like
Mm.
everyone's watching everyone always. And so there's no doubt that you're inspiring something in someone. And think of all the people that we've inspired in our lives that have no idea that they were our inspiration, and flip flop, right? All the people that we've been inspired by that they have no idea that they were our inspiration. So yeah,
You know what that makes me think of? It makes me remember that we're all mirrors to each other, right? So even if I like for the Cole shirt example that you brought up, you might see someone's shirt and be like, that shirt is really cool. That shows something to you, like, oh, I'm inspired to be cool like that. Or there could be that person that's like, who does she think she is wearing that shirt? Like, how dare she wear that shirt? You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, inspiring people, that's awesome. But also like I remind myself this often, like whatever anyone's reaction is to like what you're doing or what you're saying says more about them than it does about you. And I
mhm,
bring that up because this makes me think of a story. My dad was at the beach right one time with like his ex-girlfriend, and he's watching this guy in the distance on the beach doing yoga, and he's thinking to himself, that's so awesome. I wish I could be like that. He didn't say it, but he's thinking, I wish I could be that guy doing yoga on the beach. And then his friend next to him goes, who the fuck does that guy think he is stretching like that in the morning? And I just think it's interesting, like, but it's still important. Like, whatever that is, like evokes in someone, it's bringing something out, and it's up to
mhm.
us to decipher like what that is reflecting to us and what we do with that.
Totally. That's something that I say all the time and remind myself of all the time. Like, show up authentically, make choices that are rooted in empathy and understanding and kindness, and how other people respond to that. Obviously, it's not going to happen 100% of the time perfectly, but how other people respond to your good-willed intentions is their responsibility, not yours. But then, like you said, Hannah, the way that we feel the way that we feel like reactive to how people respond to us is then an opportunity for us to look back in the mirror. And so there's always an opportunity to throw it back on us, on the individual, on yourself, essentially, to figure out like where the lesson is or what trigger is showing up and why, and how to move through it, or how to
Yeah, because your
stay right
dad
where
looked
you're
at
at.
that guy and was like, "I'm inspired that that man is doing something healthy on the beach." And his friend looked at that guy and was also inspired, but instead of just being inspired, he was like, "How dare he?" Because
And
he
there's no
probably
way that
didn't
you
have
could
the
have known
fucking
that.
balls. He didn't have the balls to like do the yoga on the beach, so he had to judge it instead of just be like, "Oh, maybe I am judging because I actually wish that could be me, and I feel like it can't be me because I'm not there yet." So that is like it's a good test for yourself, like the way others inspire you, if you are inspired by growth and kindness, or if you're inspired to like shut people down because you maybe feel like you can't do what they're doing. And guess what? You probably can. But if you're shutting yourself down and saying shit about it, then you probably can't because that's on
And
you.
I'm giggling because this is exact. And I knew when I did this that this was why, but I did it anyways because I don't care. But this is literally why I stopped following Alex Cooper, because I saw her at the Olympics and I was so fucking jealous and envious that I was just like, you know what? I am harboring such resentment because I want this girl's life that I am starting to quote unquote hate her. And I don't know her. I'm literally just jealous of her that a podcast that she started about sex is now allowing her to fucking interview Gabby. I can't think of her last name right now. All the Olympic stars. Okay.
Wait, was she
Um,
there? Because all the Olympic stars just fuck each other in between all the events?
I
Because
do
that's
no,
like
no,
a
no, no,
thing,
no.
right?
Because I mean, so they say, but that's not why she was there. She was there because she's such a good interviewer, which started on
Okay,
Call Her, and she still has her podcast, Call Her Daddy. Um,
right.
but like she's so good at what she does that she was able to come do like serious interviews with Olympic athletes.
Okay,
And I was like, this is
got
too
it.
much. But I knew even when I did it, I was like, I'm just jealous and I'm gonna have to just take some space because I am not mirroring the right thing right now. And instead I'm just hating her
I mean, yeah,
because she
you're fucking
because
human. That
she
happens
she
to all
made
of
it.
us.
Exactly. So that's why I share that, because I
Yeah,
giggle, because it's like, of course, we're all people, and it's just about
yeah,
awareness.
of course.
So to kind of turn directions a little bit, since we also wanted this to be slightly our Tulum recap episode, um, I don't even know what question to ask. What How do you guys feel after coming back from the retreat? Silence.
May. Like, where do you start?
Crickets.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Fuck. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say.
Gabby
I feel
Douglas. Sorry.
gratitude.
That's her name. Anyways, continue.
Gabby Douglas. I feel gratitude. And I think about the Tezmikal ceremony. Is that how you pronounced it before? A lot.
Temazcal. Temazcal.
Temezcal.
So like
Um,
te and then mezcal, like mezcal tequila smoky.
like the tequila.
So
Okay,
hot
Temez.
smoke.
Got it.
Temazcal.
Um, that I have a lot of gratitude that I was able to participate in that just because of the how like Hannah said, it's just this ancient practice that's rooted in this culture and it was healing and it offered so many it offered connection and breath and healing and just like and the way, the woman who was facilitating it explained it to us and all of the doors. And even though she was speaking in Spanish and I could only understand like a portion of what she was saying, like it felt really meaningful to me. And even the way that it felt really hard and the way I was like freaked out. And that was like part of the journey in itself. Like you get to that point where you're like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can be in here any longer. It's too hot. I can't breathe. And you go through all of those things in your head. And then just for whatever reason, as soon as you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, I can't do it, then that portion ends. They open the door back up and you get that reprieve of like, okay, I can do it because I know that there's always that little break at the end where I don't know. I mean, if anybody's listening has done this, but it's like four separate sections where the man bringing in the hot coals and then he closes the blanket over the door and it's pitch black and then
Pitch
the
black.
woman starts pouring like herbaceous water with like chamomile and mint and rosemary over the water and it smells amazing but it gets really hot and if you're like wired to be an anxious person you immediately go to that like I'm trapped, I'm stuck, it's hot, I can't breathe. And then as soon as you get to that point where you're like, oh my God, it's too much, that portion ends, they open the door and you're like, oh, I did it. And then it's kind of this cool journey of like it was too hard but you did it, so now you can do the next one. And they get significantly hotter with each one, so it's its own journey in itself, but you always like but you kind of if you conquer the first one you know what's going to happen next, so you just kind of like you can hold on. I just liked how challenging it was but how we all supported each other to get through it, and the singing and the chanting kind of distracted you from your own thoughts, and it was just I don't know. It was a really cool experience for me. I think it was my favorite part of the whole trip. Like that night was really special.
I'm happy you did it because I know that I didn't describe it the best that I could have. And May was kind of
You're
like,
like,
oh,
you're
I
gonna
don't think
freak
I'm going to
out.
do that.
You're gonna freak out.
I didn't say that exactly, but I was like, pizza size, human sized pizza oven. It's really hot. You can't see anything. Presley almost ran out.
Well,
That's pretty much what
well,
I
yeah.
said.
Me and Presley were holding hands at
Yeah.
in the beginning because we were both like scaredy cats, and I was like, two scaredy cats make one brave cat, and I just kept saying that, and we just kept on going.
You did great. Were you, I saw you about to say something, Hannah. What were you going to share?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm not gonna lie, in the hut, I was like, I want it hotter, get it
Yeah.
hotter, get it hotter. But it was really awesome to do the whole ceremony. And I also, I will say, it was so beautiful and nothing takes away from the ceremony. But I did get taken out of it for a second at the beginning because we're like, and to the north is our ancestors, let's call them in. And then to the west, whatever she was saying. And there's just like a 5G tower right there. And I was like, don't look at the 5G tower, just look at the palm tree, just look at the palm tree.
I had that same thought,
That is
Hannah. I was like,
hilarious.
back in the day, there were no cell phone towers as they were worshiping the West.
Yeah, no,
Oh
exactly.
my God.
No, but I mean, dude, like, how do you even sum up this retreat? It was absolutely incredible. Like, ever since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to go on a yoga retreat, like an international yoga retreat. And it was like my first time in Mexico. I was so surprised at how much Spanish I actually knew. And like, I mean, we're the three of us, we've been tight for some time now, but I feel like we were able to get like closer just because of everything that we did. And it kind of reminded me of like a music festival when your friends go off on like a journey and then they come back and like, how was it? We all had our own things. Like someone had their massage, someone had their Reiki, someone had their egg cleanse. We were like, oh my God, how was it? We were all having like these like mind-blowing, life-changing experiences, like back to back, boom, 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 like together, but separate. It was incredible. And then we'd wind down on in the evening and like May, you and I had like such a deep heart to heart, and I'm sitting there and I'm like holding space and I'm listening, but in my back of my mind, I'm like, we're underneath the coconut tree and the wind's blowing really
It's
hard. We
windy as
might
fuck.
die.
I'm
And
listening
then
to you.
I
I'm
bring
also
it up.
freaking out.
I bring it
And what
up and
was
you're like,
funny is I had eaten a
actually,
gummy that night, and I was, like, spilling my guts to Hannah about some shit, and then she suddenly is like, "I think the coconuts are gonna fall on us. I'm gonna go sit over there," and I was like, "Did I scare Hannah away with my high
you did
emotional
not.
rantings?" And I was like, "But legit, like, the coconut," it literally right before we left on this trip, I saw some random fact on Instagram that was like, "You're 5,000 times more likely to be killed by a coconut than a shark." And then, like, we're sitting there, and I'm high as fuck,
5,000.
and I look up and the wind is just fucking blasting and there's coconuts right above my head. And I was like, if this is how I go, so be it. This is not a bad way to go.
Can you
Ah,
imagine? I don't want to imagine.
no, I don't
Um,
want to imagine. But it
It's
was so
special to
good. And
go
I have
away
to
with a group
say,
of strangers and like in our own we created our own little community of like betterment. Like we were all there
mhm,
clearly for different reasons, but generally we were there for the same reason, which is like we're people that were either looking to heal from something or to better ourselves from something or to take time to reconnect with ourselves. Like we were all there in some common theme of like just feeling better, healing from something. And
mhm,
so even though we all went about it in different ways, there's definitely kind of a bond there that you'll maintain with people for a really long time, if not forever, when you take a trip like that. It was special.
absolutely. And what I just want to share, I just want to make sure I express like how hard that cold plunge actually was. We cold plunged on the beach after a Tumo breath
Oof.
practice, which the Tumo breath practice, like I definitely tripped out. Like I've
mhm.
been practicing conscious connected breathing like that for some time. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like the jungle vibes and just like the Reiki energy healing and the tapping that I did the day before. I just like was an outer space, but I came back to earth. And then Montana, you and I were one of the first rounds to go. And the guy leading it, Ryan, he's like, okay, so Montana, you're going to sit crisscross. And then Hannah, you're going to straddle her and hold her hands. I'm like, well, this is intimate. And so we like climb in this tub. We're like holding hands and we're like breathing and we're like buoyant together. And we both were like,
Literally,
are we in the utero
the
together?
womb.
The womb?
It was
It
weird.
was
I was like, we're
so wild.
twins.
It was so wild. And yeah, what a high after that. Um, I want to say the most impactful experience, all of it for me, because I am, if we're talking about astrology, I am in the thick of my Saturn return. And congratulations, Montana. You turning 30 soon. I think you're almost done, maybe, with your
I'm
Saturn
almost through
return.
it. Yeah, and it's been a Saturn return.
It's basically just like you coming into adulthood more. Like
Hmm.
your frontal lobe is on. Saturn rotates in the same place it was when you were born every 29 and a half years. So like, what is it, like 28 to 31 is when you're in it.
Yep.
So I'm 28, I'll be 21, 29 in February. And so I felt like this trip really helped me step more into like that adulthood, just like dismantling a lot of just like old beliefs, old thoughts. Like I just let go of a lot of shit. And the first 3 days, I knew that like I had a release coming up because the collective move and flow is like my jam. It is my jam. That shit is it's so somatic and incredible. And I can do it every fucking day. Every
Hmm.
fucking day. And I knew it was coming and I knew that release was coming. And it was the third day. I just stood at the top of my mat, like staring out at the ocean. And I'm like, I'm just breathing through it. I feel it. I feel it. In Montana, Presley was teaching class and you were doing the hands-on adjustments. And you came up behind me and just like opened my heart like this. And I just went, ooh, like wailed. Everyone's trying to do a yoga class. And I'm in the back, like crying, sobbing. And May's in front of me. And she turns around and she just like reaches out. And she like actually hugs me too. And I'm like, I'm good. Let me just like cry it out. And it was so cathartic. Like it wasn't sad at all. It was just like a release valve. And I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
Weren't we saying it was like draining the bathtub? You popped the plug out of your bathtub and you let that shit
The
out.
cork.
Hold the cork.
Yeah, it was wild. Because Hannah was standing and everybody else was doing something different. And I love giving hands-on adjustments to people, especially when they're doing their own practice within or like their own posture or whatever, when they're not doing the same thing as everyone else, because I feel like it's a great opportunity to like reignite that reminder that like whatever you're doing is fucking perfect, whether it's what the teacher's saying or not. And so I love that opportunity. So I saw Hannah just standing there and I was like, oh, great. I'm going to go like roll her shoulders back, open up her heart space. And I was behind her and she started crying so hard that at first I thought she was laughing. Like she was literally like,
I couldn't tell either.
because I was behind and I was like, oh my gosh, is she giggling? And yeah, like you kind of were. Like honestly, it was like a
Yeah.
giggle cry. Cause like you said, you didn't feel
Yeah.
sad. So yeah. And then I just like gave her a big hug and Hannah and I can't remember exactly what I said, but it wasn't me. It was a straight download. I don't know what it was, but something along the lines of like, we're going far, baby. Um, and then I walked away and then she was just standing there and when May turned around, I just so happened to like grab a washcloth for her to like wipe her face. And instead of like giving it to her nice at this point, I was just like, oh, give her moment. So I literally just like threw the washcloth on her butt and or on her head or something. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was, and then other people started turning around. Like I remember Sissy turned around and people like as soon as the person turned around and saw that you were like smiling, crying, they were like, oh, fuck yeah.
Oh,
They
she's
like went
fine.
Yeah,
back.
she's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was really special. I honestly I don't have the words to describe it. I don't know. I just it makes me really emotional because this is just what I've always wanted to do, and the fact that it's happened, it's I'm in disbelief. And there's a lot of things that I've wanted to do in my life, and I'm officially emotional. There's a lot of things I wanted to do in my life, and when I get there, it's like I put it on a pedestal, and I'm just like, is this really all it is? So many times that's happened to me, and so I wasn't necessarily expecting that to happen with this, but in retrospect, looking back and like recognizing that I didn't feel that way feels like really reassuring that it's exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it's not something that I've been like yearning to get to for anybody else except or for validation or because I think it's what I'm supposed to do, which is why I've gotten to other places and been like, this isn't what I was expecting. This kind of sucks. I put it on a pedestal and I don't actually like this or love this or this doesn't make me feel happy. And the fact that this doesn't feel like that at all um, makes me really excited because it just feels like dharma. Not to, get all yogi, but it really does
Get
feel
all
like
yogi.
get all
Get
yogi.
it. We
It's
want
like
it.
so I feel so honored and so humbled and so emotional, obviously. Um to like be able to do what I love with people that I love in a space that like allows us to be ourselves and um to heal and not to like heal from being broken but to just like remember that we're perfect and like there's so much shit that we think of in that we feel like is important in life and it is right like there's stuff that's important that sucks that we have to responsibilities that we have to obtain especially like as we become older and own businesses and have children and stuff like that and all of the things are important but it's like such a good reminder that none of it matters without like the ability to just feel alive and to like be with ourselves and remember the gift that we have of like waking up and feeling and experiencing and seeing the world and moving and breathing. So sorry for crying. I'm not sorry for crying, but I wasn't expecting to cry at all.
We're here
So
for it.
I'm really grateful that you guys were there because
Yeah.
we'll never get that back. Which is like so bittersweet, but mostly sweet. That it's like what we created that week with that group of people is going to stay right there in the special place in our hearts and the special place in our brains, and no one will ever get it or understand, and that's part of what makes it so cool. Um, is that it was a moment in time, and I hope to be able to create more moments in time like that for as long as I possibly can. And I have no doubt that the two of you are going to do that as well. So thanks for being there.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
On that note,
On that note, if you want to come to Panama in November of 2025, let me know because that's where I'll be leading next year. And if you want to stay local, Pittsburgh people, I'm going to say it's by the time this airs, it's you're allowed to officially announce it. May, you want to announce your local offering?
if you're giving me permission, sure.
Chrissy
When are
told me
we
she's
in?
putting it in. Chrissy told me she's teasing it in the newsletter, and this is going to come out in the beginning of December. So
Okay. Fuck yeah. We are hosting a local retreat at the River Mountain Lodge as Yoga 6 South Hills. It will be myself and Samantha Adams. She
Samantha
hates when I
Adams.
call her Samantha. I don't know why I just did that. Sam Adams. She's not Samantha. Don't call her Samantha. It will be in May of 2025. Just 3 days. So if like this is like you stepping into a retreat and like if you can't get away from, or I shouldn't say if you can't get away from your family, but if you're timid to leave your family or go far away, this would be a really great way for you to have that experience in a smaller sense and just to see, how it feels. And so yeah, it'll
Hmm.
be a few days, local yoga, hiking, stargazing, playing spin the bottle. Just kidding. If it were
It's
up to
also
me, we would do that because that's
it's
so on brand
also
for me.
it is, it really is. It's also during the biggest full moon. I think it's the flower full moon. Is that what it's called? Of
So me and
2025.
Sam thought it was in the full moon, and then we looked back on the day, and it's not on the full moon. So I don't know what we were thinking, or if we screwed that up, or maybe we're wrong. I don't know. I'll have to check. But
Yeah, check
it's
on
going to
that.
be beautiful regardless,
Regardless. Yeah.
regardless. And yeah, it'll be fun. I hope you all come.
Same. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I was just talking about it with some like I was like about it before one of my classes the other on Monday on whatever day it was. And I was like, yeah, I was talking to some members and I was like, yeah, May and Sam are hosting. It's gonna be really cool. And I was like, and honestly, it's probably gonna sell out, so I'm probably not gonna be allowed to go. But for personal reasons, I hope it doesn't sell out so that I can take a spot. But that's not gonna happen. So
Right.
definitely gonna sell out because we have like 700 members and 14 spots, I think, something like that. So anyways, all that to say, when it goes on sale and if you're interested in attending, sign up because like my Panama trip, it would be cool if it sells out, but I highly doubt that that's gonna happen. But the River Mountain Yoga 6 South Hills retreat will inevitably sell out. So sign up or you will miss your opportunity to do so.
And if it does sell out and we do and it does well and there's a good response to it, then I'm sure we will have more cooking in the future as
Yeah,
Yoga
for
Sticks.
sure.
I already like nudged Chrissy on a couple things. I happened to bump into her after I was on my high from Tulum and I was like, "Hey, I got some ideas." And she's
Yes,
like, "Okay." So stay tuned.
exactly. Yes. Um, cool. Uh,
Wait, yoga change the world, Hannah? Do
yeah,
you think yoga
last
can change
last
the world?
question.
Forgot about this
Shit.
one.
Yeah. Hmm. I think people can change the world. And I think that yoga is a tool to help people change the world because yoga is an embodiment practice. It allows you to get out of your head and into your body and into your breath. And I believe from personal experience in my practice and also in sharing that with other facilitators and also seeing it in class with students that we become closer to our best versions of ourselves when we are embodied in our body. And I say most of us because sometimes there's still that barrier with people. I don't know if
Oh
yoga is
yeah,
enough.
we know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's lots
So
of people doing
I think
handstands that are still assholes.
totally. Yeah,
Mic drop.
right. So yeah, I think that people change the world and yoga is a tool to help people with that. And it starts on the microcosm level of just how can you change your world and make your world the best world it can be in a way that is supportive for you and those around you, and therefore ripples out.
Amen. Crack that pepper, girl. Crack it. Cool. Well,
it.
yay. I'm so excited to share this episode with all of our listeners. Hannah, you're amazing
Yep.
per usual. A big light fish girl.
Fish girl, yeah.
Big light fish
Aquarius,
person.
LOL. It's air. And I was calling her a salmon.
Rainbow mermaid, big light fish
Yeah.
person. Rainbow
Yeah.
mermaid, big light fish person. You choose whichever one,
Big- big
whichever kind of day you're having.
That was one of my favorite quotes you've ever said on this podcast, mate. So
You
many
get to choose.
emotions, the spectrum of emotions on this episode. So thank you, Hannah, for always just being yourself, like you said, authentically
Big thank you for
raw
always
and
being
real,
yourself.
yeah, and down to earth, but still flighty and airy and alien like you are. Flighty and airy, those weren't, you know what I meant by those
I know
words.
what you mean. No, I get
Yeah.
it.
I'm definitely more flighty and airy than you are, and I don't have very much air in my chart. But anyways, um, yeah. So is there anything else? Can you tell everyone where to find you and MindFuel on the socials, the interweb?
Yes. So my personal Instagram is Hannah Bagel. I do not have an H at the end of my name. I'm not a palindrome. So you'll find me that way. And on MindFuel, so it's MindFuel, FUEL. I'm sure you can like tag it in the show notes or whatever it is that you guys
Mhm.
do in the podcast world. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and our website. Definitely stay tuned. We have pop-up events that happen right now. Our semi-permanent routes are at Bay 41. But stay tuned. By the time this podcast comes out, our announcement might be out. So
Ooh,
go get over there, see what's happening,
go get
and I'll
over
see
there.
you in the sauna,
Hell
bitches.
yeah. Hell yeah. I love it. That's the energy I'm here for. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so happy that we were able to do this after Tulum. I cannot express how thankful I am that you guys spent, I'm gonna cry again, your time and energy with me and the amazing group. It wouldn't have been the same without you. So I'm just really grateful that you guys took time out of your lives to join me. And I'm so, so, so happy that it feels like it was worth that time and energy. So I love you both. And that's enough tears for one episode. So on that note, peace.
Love you.